Hey Lotus Petals, welcome back. It's time for Saturday Sit Down. So last week we sat down, we talked about all the changes that are coming to the channel now that October is over. I missed my spoopy season, but it's okay. So today's going to be our first real getting into it episode. So what we're going to do today is we're going to do a little gluten-free cooking. I'm going to make for you my gluten-free stuffed peppers. And the ingredients are really simple and it's really easy to put together. So let's get into this. Alright, so our ingredients today are rice. I love this yellow rice. It's a personal favorite. It is gluten-free. Please make sure that your rice is gluten-free. Not all rices are equal. Bell peppers. Very important when you're making stuffed peppers to have the peppers. We're using 2 different kinds of cheese today. We're using a Velveeta knockoff because it's overprocessed and gluten-free. And Velveeta is used in a lot of gluten-free cooking. And we're also using a Cheddar Jack blend, which comes from a local grocery store here, and all of their cheese products are gluten-free. We're using some pasta sauce that we know is gluten-free. It has to be, for this particular recipe, garden chunky vegetable. Don't ask me why. It was my grandmother's recipe, and I've managed to take it and make it gluten-free. And then we're also going to need some sort of ground meat. I use ground turkey. Feel free to use ground beef, ground chicken, ground turkey, ground pork, ground lamb, whatever protein your little heart desires. And if you want to make this vegan, use vegan cheeses and vegan crumble. Let's start cooking. Alright, I make my rice in an electric pressure cooker because it only takes 12 minutes. Feel free to make your rice however you make it. Now what I do is I go ahead and I get it going and I let it just go on warm for a few minutes because I am going to put a tablespoon of fat in here. Be it margarine, butter, oil, some kind of fat, so that the rice does not stick. Now that our butter is sufficiently melted, we're going to go ahead and open our rice and pour it in. A little thing that I do is I always make sure I'm using less rice than what it calls for. This package calls for 2.5 cups of rice to this water to this package of rice. So I only used 2 cups. Because I'm adding so much moisture in the process, there's no need for extra water. Give that a stir, get the fat all mixed in with the rice. Pop on our lid. We're going to hit the rice button. And that's going to start cooking our rice. Let's start browning our meat. Alright, so over a medium heat, I'm going to go ahead and start browning this ground turkey. Now this is 3 pounds of ground turkey. This much is unnecessary. What I'm probably going to end up doing is putting half of it in the fridge once it's browned, and I can turn around and make that into tacos, which is something else that you can have when you're gluten-free, so long as you keep with the gluten-free corn tortillas, or you make them yourself, which we'll cover in a later video. While that meat's browning, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get some water coming up to a boil over medium-high heat, and I have a small steamer rack down in the pan with the water not coming to the bottom of it because we're going to steam our peppers upside down. And we're going to start processing our peppers. What you're looking for with your peppers is you're looking for a base that's mostly flat so that it'll sit flat in your baking dish in the oven. Now your sweeter peppers are going to have 4 nubs on the bottom. 3 nubs means it's a male and it's a little more bitter. These are going to be female and they are very sweet and they're perfect for this recipe. So I'm going to give these a wash and I'll be right back. Alright, we're back. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the top off the pepper, just like making any old everyday stuffed pepper. Doesn't need a cap. And then we're going to remove the ribs and the seeds. And you can usually do this all at once. And then tap any excess seeds out. And then you have a nice, clean, very large pepper to fill. And I'm just going to finish the rest of my peppers. Once our peppers are all processed, we're going to put them open side down onto the steam rack. Pop a lid on. And let those steam until they're tender. Alright, now we're going to take our over-pasteurized cheese product and we're going to just chunk that up into large cubes. Now we're going to bring in our rice, which is perfectly cooked thanks to the Instapot. Give that a fluff. With that sufficiently fluffed, we're going to toss in our cheese product. The heat from the rice will melt the cheese product into it, making it cohesive. We're also going to add about half of our ground meat, which I drained after it finished browning. Ground turkey, depending on what you get, will still have fat in it, so you will more than likely, if you use ground turkey, ground beef, or ground pork, have to drain off the fat. I'm just going to start tossing that together. Now we're going to add our sauce. start with 1 can. Sometimes it's 1 can, sometimes it's 2 cans. It just depends on how dry your rice is. And this rice is pretty dry, so I'm going to go ahead and add my 2nd can. And that, guys, is our filling all done. I know it doesn't look like anything special right now, but trust me, once it gets in the peppers and goes in the oven, phenomenal. All right, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to start preheating our oven to 375. And the peppers are out. They are soft. And they are ready to be stuffed. You're going to take some of your stuffing, plop it right down in there. And if you end up with extra stuffing, like I have plenty left over, it's really, really good on its own. My grandmother called it Spanish rice. I don't know why it's Spanish, but somehow it's Spanish. We're going to set that filling off to the side, and then we're going to take our shredded cheese mix. Again, I'm using cheddar jack. And we're just going to put some on top of each pepper. Now, once the oven has preheated, we're going to pop these in the oven for 10 to 15 minutes uncovered, or until the cheese on top is melted and golden brown. I'll see you when they're done. And that's the final product, guys. Gluten-free stuffed peppers, fresh and hot out of the oven. I'm going to go ahead and plate one up. Cut into it. Oh, the food porn. Oh, the food porn. Oh, it's so good.
Hey guys, since I got pushed into this, just kidding. This was actually one of the first things that Lotus made for me when we found out I was gluten intolerant. I have celiac disease. She does not, but she's able to eat some of my food, so she tries to make things that are gluten-free for me, and she can still eat, so she'll usually do like half and half, but this is something we both can have, where it's not going to make her sick for going completely gluten-free, because she's tried that, and it made her absolutely sick. The best thing about this is it's healthy, it's filling, they freeze wonderful. It's actually one of my favorite things that she ever made so far to date, and it's her grandmother's recipe, so it's even better. No, actually, it is really, really good. I like it because the peppers are soft, but they're not too soft where they're mushy and disgusting. So it is a nice recipe. And the Instapot has helped us a lot with gluten-free recipes because it makes them so much quicker.
So guys, that's my first real Saturday sit down. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Come back next week and we will do homemade gluten-free tortillas. Bye.
Bye, guys.